Hey there, good afternoon. The evening light is coming in at the side. It's kind of funny, but welcome to my office. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to reach out and check in and share a story with you guys, something that kind of hit me as a culmination of the conversations that I've had in the last couple of days, and share something, which is that I see with each week, we're on month 5 of the pandemic. So I don't know when you're going to watch this because it's going up on my YouTube channel, but it could be years from now. But the concept remains the same. So we're 5 months into this pandemic, right? And I talk to so many of you all week long. In the last 5 months, I have had more phone minutes than I have had probably in my life combined. So here's the thing. I speak to so many individual food and beverage business owners, food and beverage business entrepreneurs, hospitality industry folk, and this is what I'm hearing. You guys are all, for the vast majority, reporting the same problems in your own language, but in the same problems. And each week, like there's kind of a wave that comes over us. And I've noticed it as things move on, like, oh, and now we're all a little bit depressed. And now we're all relieved. And it's like things are going. And so it reminds me that what's happening is so many of you think that you have, you are focused on your problems, which makes total sense. We all are. Life is crazy right now. It is 2020. Life is super weird, right? We're all focused on our problems and what we forget. And we are all raw. We are all having a tough time. This is a tough, unprecedented, weird, crazy thing, right? So here's the deal. And we all personalize that. So we think it's about us, or at least we filter it through our own filter. And so we're seeing problems through our own fatigue, through our own lens. And there are times in life when it's time to halt and stop and look around and see what's going on. And so what I want to share with you guys is so many of you guys are having the exact same problems. I don't mean to say that yours don't matter because everybody else is having them. I just want to share with you that you are not alone. And one of them is that everybody feels so all alone, trapped in their own business. What are we going to do? Right? There's only so much that we can do, or that reaching out that you can do. Some people are connecting, but a lot of people are, not really sharing everything that's going on with their colleagues. They're like, I talked to so-and-so, but I didn't really tell them about this. You guys are all having the same problems. And so what it reminded me of is this time. I was 24 years old. I had just moved back to California. I'd been out of the country for several years. Going to cooking school, becoming a classically trained chef. I went to a fancy cooking school, and then I translated at another fancy cooking school, and then I did apprenticeships, and I took it on the road, and I worked in different restaurants and for different chefs, and I learned a ton, right? I had an incredible education, but I landed back in California at a time when it was cool to have women at the helm of fine dining restaurants. And so there I was with no business training whatsoever. I could pull sugar. I could make a rose. I could build a croquant bouche. I could turn a mushroom. I could work a 24 burner saute station. And I didn't know what food cost or labor cost or any kind of management or leadership was whatsoever. And there I was at the helm of a 27-person kitchen staff. I was one of 3 women in that kitchen that had ever been in that kitchen. I was the youngest person in that kitchen. And I acted like a 17-year-old bull in a china shop. I had the only training that I really had was in a French kitchen. And that is not exactly delicate. And I was a girl. I certainly wasn't a woman at that time, right? You never would have called a 24-year-old chef. I was a girl chef. And I learned how to get by being super tough. And those were skills that didn't help. I actually needed leadership in a kinder way, in a gentler way. And I worked my tail off. And I thought I was the only person in the world. I knew that I was the only person in the world that had those problems. I was so embarrassed about the things that I didn't know how to do, that I didn't share with people, that I didn't know how to do them. And because of that, I wasn't able to get access to the resources that I needed. And I'm reminded of so many of you that I speak with on a daily or weekly basis. You simply are, as small business owners that are trying to save your businesses right now, are working in ways on areas of things that you don't have the skill set to do and don't really know how to get the resources to do. And what I can share is that you guys have, so many people have opened up so much more to me than ever before. And I am seeing the back room of QuickBooks or the back room of somebody's office. And what I can share with you is that you guys are an incredible, again, you know this, but I want to remind you, a smart, intuitive, resourceful, creative, hardworking, and determined group of people. You guys are all building tools in ways that are amazing and impressive. I'm like, you figured out how to do that? And sometimes, a lot of times, what I'm seeing are tools that involve, it's harder than it has to be. And I want to say, here's something that we call a screwdriver. You can use that. And it's only because I've helped hundreds, now actually thousands of businesses. I have an MBA. Like, I only know this because I took the time to learn it. I stepped away, I took 10 years out of the kitchen to learn about business and to help business. And it's been 10 years since I've been in the kitchen full time, right? And so I've learned these new tools. It's not because there's no shame in it. And we have so much shame and so much guilt that we should know everything because we're tough and we're hardworking and we're chefs and we make jokes about being chefs and it just doesn't help. So there I was, backing up, 24 years old, fresh off the plane, at the helm of a fine dining restaurant. My first job as an executive chef, $12 million in an annual budget. I didn't know how to count above 10 without taking my shoes and socks off. I had barely made it, I had flunked Algebra 1. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have any kind of leadership skill whatsoever. And I managed like a bull in a china shop. And that didn't work. I made all the mistakes and I pissed some people off because I made so many mistakes. I also still have some dear friends from that time period, but I started learning stuff on the side by myself because I didn't want to fail, to be honest with you. And so I learned how to get, new skill sets and getting those new skill sets. And then I realized I started sharing them with others. But here was this one moment that stuck with me, is that it was in the very beginning of WCR, Women Chefs and Restaurateurs. There was less than 100 of us at the time. And really what it was is like a quarterly or a biannual newsletter that came on like 2 floppy pieces of paper. But it was like manna from heaven when it arrived, because I would open it and I would realize I could read other things of my own people that had similar challenges going on. And I felt connected. And it was amazing to feel connected and to know that I was having challenges with other people. So now I want to reach out to you guys and say, guess what? There are challenges. They are not unique to you. We're all going through a very similar struggle. Your problem may not be exactly like the guy next door, but it's pretty close, because all food and beverage business problems fall into one of 4 categories, right? It's either culinary excellence, operational efficiency, branded marketing, or financial analysis, and working within your financial framework. Those are 4 areas. Everything falls into those 4 areas. Maybe 5, like your North Star. I can't do your North Star for you. I need to know more about that. I need you to do that. But everything falls into those categories. And so there's a solution. That's the good news, is you don't have to figure it out all alone. There are a ton of resources to help. I'm here. I give away a lot of free stuff. You can work with me one-on-one. You can work with me through digital products that are tools, and you can get support in my private Facebook group. You can take one of my larger courses when that comes back open. Right now we're taking the waiting list. You can talk to your friends. There's so many tools available, right? Above all, I would recommend getting a strategy. And here's the thing that I'm really recommending, and the reason why I jumped on to do this today is to share, is that I would work on a scorecard. Decide what your North Star is, then your key performance indicators. What are the things that you need to do in order to achieve your goals? Your goal is where you're going in your North Star. And your key performance indicator is, if you want to lose 100 pounds, you can't do that in a month. You're going to need to do that in like a 1.5 years, 2 years. I don't know. Actually, I'm just making this up. Don't listen to me. Don't take weight loss advice from me. And that's like 1 pound a week is really as much as you can go. And so you need to have a plan, and you're going to have mile steps along the way, right? We can do the same thing with learning how to ride a bike or be athletic or run a food and beverage business. Decide where you're going, break down the ways that you're going to measure your success, and then have a weekly scorecard so that you are making small, consistent goals in that direction. That's what I would recommend doing. Know that you're not alone. Your problems fall into one of 4 categories. They're all solvable. One of them is also that if you don't want to do this anymore and you're beaten up and you want to walk away, you can. There is no shame in that game. If you're like, I'm done, I'm tired, I don't want to do it, that's fine. It's totally okay. You do you, choose you. But if you want to be in the game, let's make sure that you're working as smart as you possibly can and not any harder than you have to. Because it's 2020 and life is hard. Business is hard. Okay? Go get them, Tigers.